Namaste and welcome to part two of my story. In part one, if you haven't watched it, please watch it first because I do go into details about how when I'm telling these experiences, there's not a sense of identification with a personal sense of self that went through all that stuff, but it is still part of my unique individual experience, you could say, on as this incarnation. So anyway, I started off going out in life as a singer. I'd always been really expressing myself through song and dance and music since I was a young age. And my ambition was at that time to become a singer and, travel the world. And I had all these aspirations. Um, but I wanted to have, something part-time, something to fall back on. So I went into nursery nursing, and that was going to be my falling back on career if I wasn't going to make it as a singer. So anyway, I was, getting out there, doing my gigs and things. And then when I was age 22, um, I was just I'd been going through a lot of ups and downs. There'd be a bit of success, and there'd be radio shows and things happening, and record companies interested, and I'd get all excited and all that, and then there would just be a come down from that, and then I was kind of unhappy again. And I think as well, I was really seeking love as well, maybe validation out there. Um, but I always remember, like, I just wanted to experience love. There was a strong desire in me to have this experience of being loved. So I obviously didn't feel that, even although my upbringing was very good. I had two wonderful parents, and I had everything I needed, and there was no problems at all there. Um, but I didn't feel that sense of, love somehow. So anyway, um, when I was 22, I was doing the music, and so I started meditating at that point because I was seeking this love, and I just wanted to feel. I wanted to know what it was like to feel that love for some reason, and I even wrote a song about it called "Looking for Love," and which you can hear on my Bandcamp page, anabresemusic.bandcamp.com is where some of my music is, and some of the songs I wrote during this seeking phase. So let's see. Yep. So there I was seeking this experience of love, and I started to do meditation. And one day I had this amazing meditation experience where I felt like my whole body just exploded into this kind of orgasmic experience of bliss and light and love. And I felt like this is God. I just felt like, oh my God, this is, I've been touched by God. That is what the experience felt like to me. And it was nothing like nothing I'd experienced in my life ever. So this just was the beginning of blowing the door wide open into a new phase of life. And I knew when I'd experienced that there was going to be nothing, absolutely nothing in the world. That there was nothing the world could give me after that experience. There was nothing the world could give me that would ever equal that experience. I knew I'd had something otherworldly. So this changed my perception of reality, and I started going around, and I was still living with my parents at the time, and I was going out into the garden, and I could really just see the flower, for the first time. It was like just having arrived on this planet. And so I could see this flower, and there was just so much bliss and joy, and I guess all my senses were opening up to the world around me. And so this was the awakening, my first awakening that I had. And but what followed from that experience? So I had about 3 months, I'd say, of this beautiful, blissful experience, and and then um, I started having some kind of problems. I started having nightmares, that I was like, facing the dark, the darkness, and I just started going through, hearing voices. I started hearing voices, and that it wasn't saying very pleasant things, and so I kind of was quite scared at this point. I got really scared about what I was hearing, and I'd never experienced anything like that in my life, until this point. And then one day I realized that, wait a minute, I can hear all these voices and things like that, but it's absolutely not me. There's no way that I would want to be thinking these things. It's just completely out of character with what's in my heart, who I know myself to be as a human, because I was a very kind, caring, giving person. And and so when I was experiencing all these kind of dark energies and voices and things, it was like I knew that wasn't me. So straight away, had this realization that I'm not my thoughts. I'm not, what's going on here. And so I was able to tap into that awareness at that time. Um, and I think that that must have been because I'd had that awakening experience, where there was just all that bliss and peace. And so now what was happening was that was there and had been activated. But what happens is all your layers, all your subconscious layers, and this can include your programming from a young age. It can include all your fears, all your nightmares, every scary movie that you've ever watched, every um, every scary book that you've ever read. It's like all coming up to the surface because the light has shone, the light has been awakened within you. And now it's like what they call the dark night of the soul. So the dark night of the soul was the process I was going through. But I had no one around me at the time to explain this to me. I mean, this is going back to about 1992, and there was just um, there was no there was no there was no reference points for me. There was no reference points. There was nobody talking about this. There was no internet at that point as well. I didn't know anybody that I could talk to. So basically, I just went on a journey of like, well, how do I harmonize this? How do I heal from this? How do I, clear all these mental thoughts and you know um, get peace? Basically, how do I find my peace? So I went on a long journey, and I'm not going to go into all the details of that. So, but it was say a 20-year journey almost. And I joined the Brahmins, was the first thing I did, which helped tremendously because it was all about meditation. And I think I probably did maybe tell somebody there what happened, and they were just explained a lot of things that I hadn't understood. So I started to learn about kind of spiritual teachings at that point. And then I started researching and learning and reading spiritual teachings. And then I guess about 7 or 8 years later, I met my partner who was going to be my spiritual buddy for 18 years. And the following 18 years from that point onwards was where we were both working on ourselves. We were both doing the self inquiry. We were both exploring healing modalities such as raw food diets, Ayurveda, macrobiotics, homeopathy, you name it. We explored it, and the teachings of Eckhart Tolle, Krishnamurti, Adida, um, you know, uh, all the teachers. Barry Long, we had a kind of Western teacher who was very good as well, and went to spiritual retreats and things like that too. And it was all just a process of learning more about who we are, and it was just about learning to deprogram as well. We came across David Icke, and to this day, I'm so grateful to David Icke. I know that a lot of people scorned him back in the day, but we were following him, reading his books, and he was exposing the more kind of relative side of things, which was about, the kind of system that we'd grown up in and the world as it was, the world as we knew it, and the kind of suppression of the spiritual and infinite intelligence that we are. So basically, it was about the subconscious programming that we go through as children into adults, where we're not really realizing our full potential. So that was helpful as well, and that was also part of my journey, and as well as the spiritual teachings, spiritual masters, and all that. And then we got some pet rats, and we started that started a whole other journey of having beautiful connections with animals. I was also raw vegan, and the connections with the animals was really getting very intense as well. And I just felt this unity consciousness, unity connection with the animals. Because one day there was a wood pigeon out on the windowsill, and I just felt this one connection, unity connection with the wood pigeon. And it was like, so there was a sense of oneness with everything at that point. And I know that that's also a phase that we can go through, but it's a first stage phase of this unity consciousness. And it's a great phase, and it's really good. But there's more to it than that later on as well. But that was a start. And also, I also went through the grieving process of all the animals, losing all the animals over a kind of 13-year period, which again taught me, the cycle of birth and death, and how there really isn't this separation. It's like we have this point of birth and this point of death, and we just see it as this very linear kind of point A to point B. But actually, it's, I kind of had this realization where it's just this continuity, and that there is no death really, and there's no birth. So there's all these different realizations along the journey that I could talk about for days, because it's like very specific points on the road, on the journey. And of course, it continues. It continues to expand. It never ends. The journey of consciousness, of the soul, is always evolving as long as we're here, and then who knows, maybe even beyond that as well. So where was I? As I say, this could go on for too long, and I don't want to make the videos too long. I guess I'm going to maybe do another video which I'm going to cover just the grieving part, how grief and going through grief, through loss of pets, my father, and also a kind of twin flame experience that I had as well. So it's like the heartbreak cycle that I've been through. And I feel like only recently that's sort of like I've had a big healing from that. And but there's been a very long journey away before that as well. And a lot of the spiritual experiences that I've had have also helped form the foundation for being able to navigate through these experiences when they do happen a lot more swiftly and easily, because there's less attachment and identification with the experiences themselves. But it doesn't mean that it's not hard. It doesn't mean that it's not challenging, because it can be extremely challenging, going through these things, no matter how evolved you may feel yourself to be. So because there is this relative human experience still going on as well, and sometimes we can kind of waver between the two, and sometimes it can feel very much like you're in this human world and experiencing all these things, and relating with people on a very kind of human 3D level. And so you have this 3D level of existence that you have to deal with on a relative level. But then there's also the kind of spiritual consciousness evolution going on at the same time. And so you go through these cycles of like experience, processing, and then integration. So there's quite a lot to it, and I think I'm going to leave it there. But if there's one thing that I would like you to take away, and that is just that you're not your experiences, and that you can heal, and that you definitely can heal whatever you're going through at this time. And if you need any help with that, or you would like a mentor or guide, then I'm available for that. My website's anabrese.com, where you can see what I can offer and help you with there. I do also offer a free guided meditation that's very healing, very deep. So you can sign up for that there as well and download that. Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you listening to me, and I hope there were some takeaways from, me relaying the experiences that I've been through, that may help you on your journey as well. And I do put out regular videos covering just different aspects along the awakening journey. And if there's anything that you would like me to cover as well, or maybe go further into, then please just post a comment below and let me know. Thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate you. You are beautiful, and just stick with it. Stay true to yourself, stay aligned with what's true for you, no matter who you're listening to, whatever teachings you come across. Just always check in with your own resonance. Take what's most beneficial for you, because you are on your own unique soul's path, and everybody requires different healings, different activations that are going to help them on their journey. Okay, so thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. I love you. Bye.